This here is the Volvo C40, which, to be honest with you guys, is probably the electric car I would buy with my own money in this segment of vehicles. So to find out why, you're going to want to watch the whole video till the end. And guys, before we kick it off, I just want to give a huge thanks to Zaptec with their Zaptec Go for sponsoring today's video. The Zaptec Go is a small, cool and stylish home charger that can be had in a whole bunch of different colors, and it can charge up to 11 kilowatts on AC charging. So use the discount code CHRISRIFA down below to get 10% off your purchasing price here in Norway. Before I take this car out on the road and tell you what it is like to drive, let's go through some numbers and some stats. So this is the C40 Twin Ultimate, which is equivalent to the XC40 P8. So we have dual electric motors, 408 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.7 seconds, and a usable battery pack of 75 kilowatt hours. This will do a maximum of 155 kilowatts of fast charging, but it will taper off, so expect 10 to 80% with a warm battery. That means navigating to a charger, because this does have active preheating of around 35-36 minutes. The WLTP rates this car at around 441 kilometers of WLTP rated range on these 20-inch wheels. And yeah, you can expect less than that. So to check out how much less on the motorway, there will be a link in the description box down below for my motorway range test, but it's still not too bad. It's better than other EVs in this segment that you thought would have been better. The C40 starts at around 580,000 kroner here in Norway, or around 58,000 euros. This car, with all the bells and whistles, all the options ticked off, is 624,000 kroner, about 62,500 euros. And for that price, I think this is a very appealing package. It's well equipped, it looks good, and it is very fast. So let's take this car out on the road and find out if it is any good to drive. When it comes to driving dynamics, ride comfort, and overall feel, the BMW 3 Series has been the benchmark in its segment of vehicle for several decades. And I would argue that the Volvo C40 is the same for this class of electric SUV, because like the 3 Series, it's not the best at anything, but it is very good at everything when it comes to driving. So starting off with the steering, there are cars with better steering feel than this, but the steering feel, though lifeless, is very natural. It's weighted naturally, it's very linear and progressive. I like the weight of it. It just fits this character of vehicle. And then we have the ride comfort. Again, there are EVs that ride better than this, but only marginally. This is one of the best riding electric SUVs in this segment. And then you have cars that are sportier than this because they may sit lower, but body control, yeah, is very amazing. You know, especially thinking that this is a tall vehicle. So I'm actually impressed by the way this thing drives. And it's everything in combination. You know, the weight of the throttle pedal, how one pedal driving works, all the weight of the controls. It just feels very natural. Everything just seems to be tuned perfectly. I'm going to bring the Mercedes-Benz EQB up again, because that's a car I do like a lot, but some of the weight of, you know, like the throttle pedal, brake pedal, and how some of the controls are much lighter than the rest of the vehicle. So there's this inconsistency. So it's the consistency of weight and feeling, the sense of solidity, that doesn't only, you know, you don't only have that in the cabin, but you have that in the controls, you have it in the way the car feels and responds to inputs. Honestly, guys, I think this is my favorite driving SUV, electric SUV in this segment of vehicle, easily. Is there a better looking electric SUV than the Volvo C40? If you think so, let me know in the comment section down below. In my opinion though, I don't think so. You know, I do like the Kia EV6, I do like the Mustang Mach-E, especially in GT form, but I think this is easily and by far the best looking electric SUV. I love the front end design, you know, with these new lights for the C40 version. The XC40 refresh now gets these, but I just love, you know, that chiseled front end. I love the side profile with that, you know, fastback look, and also I'm very fond of that rear end styling. I just overall think it works very well, and it's easily the best looking electric SUV in the segment. I don't think there's a bad angle on this car, and this car in Fjord Blue with these 20-inch wheels just, you know, is the cherry on the top. So I think this easily is the best looking electric SUV on the market. I think it looks so darn good. When it comes to the interior of the Volvo C40, the front cabin is actually quite roomy and spacious. It feels airy in the front seats of this car. The interior, not as ostentatious or as stylish as something like a Mercedes-Benz EQB, but I would argue that overall quality, fit and finish, and build is better in this car. There's just much more consistency in the high quality of this interior, and also there's a sense of solidity in this cabin that you won't find in any other SUV in this segment. The front seats, these front seats are one of the best in the business. The exact same seats you'll find in a Polestar 2, a car that I've done tens of thousands of kilometers in the past year or two. I did a trip from Oslo to Italy and back again in 5 days, and I can attest to the comfort and support of these seats. They are amazing. And in this SUV, you sit much higher than any other electric SUV in this segment. So you're going to get more of that, commanding driving position, which I do like and a lot of people are looking for. So you're going to sit higher here than a Kia EV6, Hyundai Ioniq 5, Volkswagen ID4, or even a Q4 e-tron from Audi. The rear seats, though, are a little bit of a different story. I'm sitting behind myself in my driving position. I do have enough knee room here. I'm about average height at 5'10" or 178 centimeters. Headroom, though, because of that sloping roofline, is a bit tight. I have this much. So taller people above 6 feet, are going to struggle here. The worst thing, though, is this door opening because it's quite small, but look at where the window sits. It's at my eye height, so I have to duck getting in and out of this car. It's not the easiest car to get in and out of, especially now me on crutches. I'm a bit stiff in my legs, so yeah, that is not easy. Though rear cabin is almost as nice as the front cabin in materials. Some cars skimp on the rear, quality of the rear cabin. This car doesn't do that. You have dual vents, you have dual electric seats, and you have dual USB-C ports. If it wasn't for this large, expansive, panoramic sunroof, it would feel even tighter in here. But having this actually makes it feel more airy than it actually is. The digital gauge cluster in the Volvo C40 is 13 inches and is seriously one of the best digital displays of any car in the business today. So it has beautiful contrast, high resolution, bright colors, and nice black levels. But the best thing is the infotainment system that it is running, which is Android Automotive, which gives you Google Maps in the middle, and the layout is super simple. You have speed on your left, you have secondary information about, distance and consumption there on the bottom, and then you have information like temperature, your lights and seat belts there on top, and then also you have your gear selector there on the right. It's super simple and super clean, and you can even make it simpler by pressing a button on the steering wheel, which gives you just this blacked out look and removes the map. But I do prefer that map, but maybe for night driving this is better. So this map here for me is perfect. And then you have one option for your trip computer here, which you get up all the relevant information. So not a lot of customization, but I do think it's quite perfect in this configuration. Moving over to the central screen, this infotainment system runs on this 9.3-inch portrait display here, which, to be honest, is a bit small now in 2022. When this screen came out in 2015, it was revolutionary, it was awesome, it looks fine now. Though that 9.3-inch display real estate means you do have not a lot of room for buttons here on the bottom. Though I do think they have, utilized the space really well, but on the screen of the Polestar, which is 11 inches, all the icons are much bigger, so I do like and prefer the layout of the Polestar 2. The infotainment system also has a little bit of a different skin. I still find the Polestar 2s to be a little bit better than this, but this is very, very good. So you have, your temperature here where you can adjust it without having to go into a secondary menu, which is nice. You can also adjust the passenger heated seat without having to go into a secondary menu. But on the driver's side, because you have a heated steering wheel, you have this pop-up window here. But everything is so snappy quick. Check that out, guys. And I do like the fact that you do have a shortcut to your 360 camera here. Though I wish you did also have the backup camera in the same view. To go to your backup camera, you have to press the screen and then press this, but then you lose your 360 camera. I wish you had your 360 camera here alongside the backup camera, like most, electric cars today have. But it's fine, but I hope they fix that with a software update. And then on the left side here, you have all of your apps. Again, I do think the implementation is better in the Polestar 2. And then you have your settings there. If you go to your home button, you have these 4 panes, which is, well, reminiscent of what you had in the Sensus infotainment system, which you had before this Android infotainment system. You have your maps up there. It's fine. I just prefer the, the layout in the Polestar 2. But this car does have Google Assistant, so in 3, 2, 1, guys, I'm going to say the prompt that will activate all of your home devices. So if you have a Google Home device, mute the sound now here, or turn off your home device. I'm going to count down again. 3, 2, 1. Hey Google, navigate to Oslo.
Navigating to Oslo.
So the voice commands in this infotainment system is easily the best of any car in the business. It seldom fails you, and you can ask it anything. So, hey Google, how many people live in London?
In 2019, the population of London was 8,982,256. By the way, if you want to listen to the news while you drive, just say, hey Google, play the news.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So you can ask it just about anything. I have it set now to English because a lot of people complain that I often don't change the language from Norwegian. I do apologize, guys. I'm going to get better at that. But even if you have it in Norwegian, you can ask these questions in English. It's pretty awesome. And sometimes, like the ultimate test was when I took the Polestar 2 traveling on the west coast of Norway last year. I tried to navigate to a charger, and I said the previous name of the location, which was called like 2 or 3 years ago, but the infotainment system recognized that and actually corrected me, which is pretty darn awesome. So this here in the Volvo C40 may not be my absolute favorite implementation in the Geely group of this infotainment system, but I mean it's 9.8 out of 10, while the best being 10. It's pretty awesome. My biggest gripe about the Volvo C40 is the road noise on these 20-inch wheels and these Pirelli all-season tires. It may be just specific to this tire wheel combination, because when I drove this car back in January on 19-inch winter wheels, I can't remember it being as noisy as this is. And also here in Norway, we do have very coarse roads around Oslo because they have to withstand winter, and they're also worn from winter driving, ice and snow. So if you live somewhere else, that may not be an issue for you. So I would highly recommend you guys, if you're interested in this vehicle, take it out for a test drive on your local roads to see if that road noise is as prevalent as I'm describing here. Or if you don't care, well, you don't care. That's my only huge gripe about this car, is that when I've been driving it on the motorway, it is a bit noisy when it comes to tire noise. Wind noise though, it is fine. And also, I mean, the back seat isn't the biggest. You guys saw that. Well, I have just barely enough legroom, and also ingress and regress can be a bit tricky. But other than that, to conclude, this is an awesome car. It looks great on the exterior. I mean, it's the best looking electric SUV on the market in my opinion. I think it looks awesome on these wheels. So I would probably even, spec these wheels, but maybe try to get some different tires, more quiet tires. Interior also, I love the interior, the quality, the room, the spacious, the practicality. I love the infotainment system. I love the way this thing drives, the balance between ride comfort, sportiness, and handling, and just the weight of the steering, all of the controls, one pedal driving in the Volvo C40 alongside the Polestar 2 is the best calibrated one pedal driving in my opinion. It's fast, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.7 seconds. I mean, what isn't there to like? It has a trunk that is big enough. You have a front also. It charges fast enough. So if it was my money, there's no doubt in my mind, I would pick this in front of the Mustang Mach-E in other cars, even though those cars a little bit more expensive, spec'd out. I'm talking about the GT version. I just prefer to drive this. I don't need the fastest car in the world. I like it fast, but it doesn't have to be the fastest. And you guys may be thinking, hey, didn't you just, order a Taycan 4S because you didn't think your 4 was fast enough? That is correct. But I also drove a Taycan Turbo Cross Turismo a few days ago, and that was just too fast. I'm like, no, I don't need this in my life. I can save that money and get that 4S instead because that's fast enough. But in my opinion, it has to be at a certain pace. This pace, fast enough, and the way this thing drives and looks. And also the stereo here, Harman Kardon, is pretty awesome, one of the best in this segment. So guys, overall, I think this car just scores highly on a lot of things, and it doesn't have too many, issues. So let me know what you think down below. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.